Well, what is the journey? Well, the journey has four cornerstones. It has an adventure game, a mythological story with legendary characters such as Robin Hood, Merlin, King Arthur, but a new twist on those characters, as well as novel characters such as the Crimson Dragon, Piercing Eye, the Wood Elf, and an emerald named wizard. A wizard named Emerald. And third part of it would be the life skills training, which has 6 different types of life skills on the journey. And the 6 types are relationship skills, which children learn listening and talking skills. They learn to read other people's nonverbal behavior. And perhaps most important of all, they learn to appreciate differences, that whenever they meet someone, instead of judging them, they learn to sit back and learn from people who are different. That prejudice comes from fear and being narrow-minded. Because how can you know about a person by knowing one thing about them? The clothes they wear, the color of their skin, whatever it may be. The next thing after the relationship skills, the journey moves on to mastery skills. These are the skills that are needed to accomplish goals, to overcome challenges, and essentially these skills are prefrontal lobe training. The journey life skills in many ways addresses the thinking part of a child's brain, or the upstairs brain. So that's another important part of the journey, is mastery skills. Third part of the journey is emotional skills. Emotional skills are the skills it takes for us to recover from emotional distress. That when we've had a tough day, when the world has thrown a lot at us, how do we recover from that, pull ourselves back together? During the journey, kids are taught, don't let what happens during any one day change who you think you are. That sometimes breathing is easy in life, and life is good, wind's at your back. Sometimes breathing's hard, things don't go well, and that to overcome adversity, you have to be able to see that life flows back and forth. That if you have strength during suffering or the hard times, the pendulum will swing back your way. And they see that over and over again. And that's the nature of the journey. That's the concept of a journey is the overriding metaphor that kids learn, is that life has 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. But if they have the determination and the heart of a warrior, they can make it to changing their lives, reaching their goals, and becoming the best in what a human can be, no matter their surroundings, no matter the stresses or the challenges they face. So the third part of it is, the third skill is emotional skills. The fourth skill, and now we're switching over into the fourth skill, is mindfulness training. Mindfulness training has always been a part of the journey, but now it's more structured, and it addresses how you learn to focus your attention on something in the moment and to keep your attention focused without being distracted. It starts off with focusing on your breathing, and then moves to focusing on sights such as a waterfall, the sounds of a waterfall, whatever it is that you purposefully choose to focus your attention like a flashlight upon, and keep coming back to that over and over again. This is how children change the structure of their brains and build the neural pathways to connect the thinking part of their brain to the emotional part of their brain to the survival part of their brain. And we coach kids in mind school to kick it upstairs. A problem that if you're locked in at the survival center of your brain, and you're seeing it as you're going to be harmed, and you're kicking into fight or flight, and that moves up to fear and anger and misperceiving what is happening around them. You move it all the way up, build the pathway or the highway up to the thinking part of the brain, to be able to sit back and see things before you react to them. To be able to see that just because things have gone wrong in the past in this kind of situation doesn't mean that the guides or the shelter staff are going to mistreat you now. So a big part of mindfulness training is focusing your awareness on the external world and developing these pathways to the thinking part of your brain. Another part of mindfulness is just increasing your awareness and enjoyment of life. That you really feel the water when you take a hot shower, that you feel the wind against your face when you ride your bikes, that you feel the sun shining, to get out of your head and back into your senses, which is, in this day and time, an important task and challenging. The next or fifth kind of type of life skills, is alternative perspectives or changing how you see the world. And you could just summarize this as seeing the big picture. That it's learning to take a different way of looking at the same situation and that leading to a different experience of it. For example, two men are standing in line at a convenience store, and it's a long line. One of the men is in a rush, of course, and he's saying, "This line is a hassle, it's a waste of my time. This is a bad deal." The other man, who's standing right next to him, says, "This line's going to be a challenge. Let's see how I handle it." And then he entertains himself and develops patience that'll help him down the road. Two men are in the same situation, but they have different experiences. Then as the men near the checkout stand, an elderly woman who's distracted by her grandchildren cuts in front of them. The first man says, "This is not going to stand. But if I don't say something to her, this is a sign of weakness." And he thinks he has to be assertive. Once again, he's faced with more pain. The other man sees letting the lady go first as an act of human kindness. That he makes that choice in mind. So, once again, two men are in the same situation, but have different experiences. This is an example of what perspective we take on a situation leads to the emotions that permeate our lives. The last of the life skills is narrative skills. And the journey is about seeing life as an unfolding story. You could say it's a movie, and you're the lead character in your movie. And over time, you build up a story based upon your experiences, and you weave those stories together into your life narrative or your life story. So everything that happens is a chance to see how your character handles that situation. And when you take the position of the witness, which is the ability to stand outside yourself and look down upon yourself, and you see yourself as this character, then the question becomes, do you like your character or not? And the cool part of that is that if you don't like your character, you can change your character script. That you can decide for your character to react differently, this time to a situation than in the past. Then the journey staff or guides point out how you are reacting differently to things than in the past. How you're showing better problem ownership than blame, excuses, playing the victim. How you are putting other people ahead of you. Whatever the situation whenever a situation arises, it's a teaching opportunity. And then you recognize for how you handle those differently, and over time that becomes your life story or your narrative.